And I would like to invite Dennis, who is member of the facilities team and the chair of our pastoral council, to speak to us.
Thank you, Monsignor. I know I'm the only thing between you and dinner, so this will be short. As a member of the new facilities committee, we've made it a priority to keep you This is called a special dispensation in the church. Thank you, Monsignor. As a member of the new facilities committee, we've committed ourselves, and Monsignor's encouraged us, to keep you informed every step of the way as we move toward building a new church, new offices, and new classrooms. And we've made continuing progress, and this is the latest update for you. I'm going to talk to you briefly about where we stand with finances, the processes we're dealing with the diocese and within the parish at this point in time, and then a call for help. First, a financial overview. We've given you a figure before, and it hasn't changed. The overall cost of our building effort will be approximately $7.5 million. That sounds like a big amount of money, but we think that's entirely feasible when we do our rough analysis of the building effort. Now, that is an entire figure. I mean, that's site prep, that's the church, the classroom construction, the architects and professional services, and it includes over $500,000 built in for a contingency requirement. In other words, expect $7 million, build in 7.5 in case it goes higher, and everybody who's built a house understands that. We'll refine these costs as we get closer, obviously, and keep you informed about that. Now, there's great news about the financial standing of our parish. We currently have $1.6 million on hand dedicated to the building fund already in savings, and that's fantastic. That's a very positive thing to go forward to the diocese with. The remainder will have to come from a combination of a diocesan loan, essentially a mortgage, and a capital campaign. Come out to look for funding from various sources to include you. And that loan that we get from the diocese, just like a loan you would get from a mortgage company, depends on them looking on our internal our finances and saying, you can afford to pay off this loan. So they'll look at the fact that we pay all our bills every month, and then we'll look at how much we are bringing in beyond that, and if the numbers work that we can pay that loan off, then we should be in good shape. And again, I think we're positively exposed to that right now to go to the diocese. And that's due to your great contributions and the increase in offertory, and I'll ask you to continue to prayerfully consider that as we move into the future. So updates on the investments. We haven't just waited to start doing things. We're not doing this in a stepwise fashion. We are doing this as it's necessary to do it. We've already invested $200,000 toward initial site planning, schematics, water, sewer hookups, a pump station, wetlands updated. So you understand, we've already made efforts to prep this so when the time comes to say break ground, we're ready to go with this. So what's next? In the process, what's next is we have to go to the diocese and provide them a finance plan. So that they will consider the estimated loan that we get from them. And we'll do that very shortly. That's in draft at this time, and I expect it to occur very shortly. That's based on history, as I said, and projections of income above expenses. And then we'll do a briefing to the Diocese Building and Real Estate Commission called a design development presentation. And it includes more in-depth drawings than the site plan that you've seen out in the gathering area for quite some time. It'll have details about site utilities, preliminary schedule plans, cost fidelity, and so on. The next step in this process, more fidelity in that for an approval to continue on. Recognizing that the diocese holds the lease eventually to the church and the buildings. Okay, so the capital campaign is the first step for that is we have to hire somebody to run it for us. We're not going to do it ourselves. We're going to have a professional organization do that. And we're very close with, I think we've got down to two, is that right, Monsignor? 2 companies that we're considering, and we should hire them soon, one of those two soon. They'll do a feasibility study, and and that will probably be done in June. It's only several months from now, and it'll say, this is what you need to get, and you can't, we think, based on your demographics you're giving and so on, we think you can get that money, or you can't get that money, or you can get more than that money, and that's our hope, of course. That'll, again, confirm the validity of our initial estimate. And assuming there's no major issues, it's reasonable for the capital campaign to begin in the fall and last 6 to 8 months. So think about that prayerfully as we're going toward the fall. Everybody wants to know when, right? They want to know, when are we going to break down and when are we going to see a building go up? And I do too. But again, it comes down to money, and we can't promise you when that's going to happen. What we can say is that once we have the amount of money on hand, the loan approved, the pledges for the capital campaign, Diocese will tell us, go. And when that happens, we will break ground. And once we do break ground, we expect the actual construction process to last for 12 to 18 months. Okay, so where are we right now in all this planning? We have the big picture. We've done, I think, a pretty commendable job on with the diocese, a good job. But now we need your help, because the devil's in the details. Now we need people like you to join us and help us to design this. This is your church. This will be your church. We want you to help us build this church. We want your input for that. And so what we're going to ask for are your help with subcommittees. And these subcommittees will address those details that I talked about. These are things like furnishings. What will the pews look like? Where will we buy them? How much will they cost? The altar, the statues, the family room furnishings, all those things that go into furnishing the interior of our church. We need people to think about that, pray on it, but be part of a subcommittee, more importantly, to do something about it. Landscaping. Are we going to do it ourselves? Are we going to outsource it? What's that going to look like? What's that first look we see when we come in here? We need help with that. And IT, okay? We need help with IT. We need somebody who's knowledgeable about that. If we're going to build a modern, brand new church, we need the latest in technology to go into it, but we also need the flexibility as that technology changes. We're able to change with it and stay with the modernization of the IT. We need help with decor. So once we pick all the furnishings, who has an eye for carpeting? Who knows about carpeting? The towel, the paint, the colors that make that all come together. So we need help with that. We need help with the columbarium. Our intention, separate from the church, is to construct a columbarium, a place where, if you desire, you can be interred here on our campus, and you will be, and your descendants will have a place to meditate, pray, in a beautiful setting out behind where the church and beside where the church will be. So we need to talk about that. That's not something that's entirely simple, but something very doable. How do we build it? What's the design? What are the requirements? Or state requirements as well as diocesan requirements. So those are some of the ideas, and there's several more. But the bottom line is, I will be out here afterwards if you'd like to fill out a form to sign up for any. And we will have online opportunities for you to sign up as well, where you can take a form with you, prayerfully consider it, and then mail it back in or get it to somebody on the staff to volunteer for that. I would love to see an overwhelming response. The bottom line is, though, we're going to put you to work when you do sign up, and we look forward to doing that because, again, this is your church. We've already picked most of the facilitators for these teams, all right? They're going to help lead you through this process, and they're going to have a charter from us that tells them what they should be looking at and doing, but they will need help from you, and that's what we're going at here. All right, so I can't think of much. We've talked a lot. Monsignor's emphasized this year something called intentional discipleship, your personal journey with Jesus Christ. And I personally can't think about anything for me that makes that personal journey more meaningful than building a house where we can worship the Lord, we can join together for the Eucharist, we can have adoration and practice the sacraments in a beautiful setting that is worthy of Jesus Christ. And I look forward with your prayers and your help to doing that, and the day that we are in that facility together. So thanks again. Again, I'll be in the back. I appreciate everything you're doing to support us.
definitely we want to do this together. From the book of Proverbs, chapter 29, verse 18, we read, "Where there is no vision, a people perish." We have a vision, and we have our vision to live a life worthy of our calling, to grow as disciples, graced in the Eucharist, and at the same time, expand our facilities so as to fulfill our mission. Some of our friends are just outside. They cannot be with, and this was intended to be just a fellowship hall. This is not our church. I know some of you want to kneel down. There are no pews. That's why we definitely try to make sure that we together will grow together as a parish and fulfill our mission here.